Back in Genshin Impact's early meta, Chongyun was a core part of one of the strongest team, the national team. As the game evolved, variations of the team emerged. The lineup consisted of Bennett, Xiangling, Xingqiu, Sucrose, Fischl, and Chongyun, all powerful 4-star units. But over time, players started to favor the other 5, while Chongyun slowly faded into the background. With every update, more cryo supports and cryo applicators were introduced, giving even fewer reasons to use him. Now, he's back on the banner. But is he still worth building? What if I told you there are things that only Chongyun can do? We know that the first thing that comes to mind is his cryo infusion. But here's the thing, that's not even his real selling point. Well, yes, he's the only character who can apply cryo infusion, but most cryo DPS characters already have innate cryo infusion, making it less impactful. In today's meta, teams are dominated by buffers. Attack buffs, crit buffs, elemental damage buffs, and resistance shredding are the most common buffs. But what if there was another type of buff? A buff that only Chongyun can provide. Cooldown reduction. Chongyun's Constellation 2 reduces the cooldown of elemental skills and elemental bursts by 15%. This isn't just a small bonus. In a game where rotations matter, making them shorter changes the way you play the game. The faster you cast skills, the more damage you deal over time. If we want to make Chongyun viable again, we need to stop forcing him into roles that others do better, and instead build around what makes him unique. Here are the 2 things that makes Chongyun stand out. First is his Constellation 2, cooldown reduction, which I mentioned earlier. And second, his elemental burst. Unlike most characters who need 60 to 80 energy, Chongyun only needs 40, allowing him to focus entirely on damage stats like attack and crit. Chongyun also has one of the highest multiplier bursts in the game, which is 302.6% on level 13, which hits for 3 times, 4 times if he has Constellation 6, which is equivalent to a whopping 900% in total, and 1200% on C6. Not only that, all of the hits on his elemental burst can melt, which increases the damage by another 1.5 times. To maximize Chongyun's strengths, we need a Pyro Applicator who can trigger melt and also benefits from cooldown reduction. Xiangling benefits the most from Chongyun's cooldown reduction. For those of you who don't know, Pyro Needle lasts 10 seconds but has a 20-second cooldown, giving it only 50% uptime. With Constellation 4, Pyro Needle extends to 14 seconds, increasing the uptime to 70%. Now, add Chongyun's C2, reducing the cooldown from 20 seconds to 17 seconds. This pushes uptime to 82%. As for the last slot in the team, it depends on the enemies you are fighting. For AoE damage, you can add Kazuha or Sucrose for crowd control and damage buffs. As for single target damage, you can include Xingqiu, Rosaria, Raiden, or any strong single target DPS of your choice. Here's a comparison of Chongyun team versus my Arlecchino plus Furina team on floor 12 chamber 1. Take note on the damage of Chongyun's burst. As you can see here, Chongyun dealt 84k damage for each icicle. Assuming they all crit, it can potentially deal 336k damage, which is actually pretty decent for a 4-star character. By the way, my Arlecchino and Furina are C1, so they would be dealing more damage than normal. As you can see, the Chongyun team deals damage comparable to one of my best teams. I won't be showing the single target run to keep the video concise, but in my testing, replacing Kazuha with Xingqiu still clears the second half in under 90 seconds, which is still decent. As for the build, I'm using Serpent Spine, but if you don't have one, you can use the Fish, Oxyrus Sea Lord, or you can also use Tidal Shadow, which I don't have, or you can use any of your 5-star weapon if you have one. As for the artifacts, I'm using 2-piece. You can use Wanderer's Troop for Elemental Mastery, Noblesse for Elemental Burst bonus damage, or Blizzard Strayer for cryo damage. You can focus all your stats to attack, crit rate, and crit damage since you don't have energy issues. As for constellations, I'm using C6. As for the talents, the most important ones are Elemental Burst and Elemental Skill. So that's it for this guide. Do I think he is necessary? No. Is he viable? Definitely. Should you pull for him? Personally, no. But if you happen to get multiple constellations, then you can definitely consider building him. So that's it for me. I'm out.